Hi there, I'm David Hunt, owner of GameMasters Guild, and today I'm going to look at something different for Magic the Gathering. This time, I'm going to let you take a look at some of the decks that I enjoy playing for Magic. Now, I'm not super competitive in nature, I've never really played a lot of tournaments, I've always been kind of a kitchen table guy, honestly, and I enjoy that kind of casual competitiveness. And today, I'm going to show you one of my favorite decks that I've had for a really long time. It's a mono black deck, and I call it the Bone Shredder. And it's not just a name I gave the deck, there's actually a key card in the deck called the Bone Shredder that I love to use. So let's take a look at the Bone Shredder and see what it's all about. Okay, today we're going to take a look at the kind of Magic the Gathering decks I build and play. Now keep in mind, a lot of my decks I consider to be more for casual fun or casual competitive, but there's definitely, I think, some interesting things. At the very least, maybe you'll see some cards that you'll want for your games. All right, so let's take a look and see what I got. The first thing up is my Bone Shredder deck. So let's open this thing up and see what I got. Okay, so here I've got 18 basic lands. I like these older swamps because they're just kind of cool looking. Set these off to the side. And then here I've got another 8 special lands. I've got Lake of the Dead. And now, of course, it's kind of detrimental because when it comes into play, I have to sack a swamp. I can still tap it for a black, but also I can sacrifice the swamp to get some mana ramp, to get 4 black mana in my mana pool. Pretty nice. Now, Thawing Glaciers allows me to search my library for a basic land and put it into play tapped, and it doesn't count towards my 1 land per turn limit, and I have to shuffle my library, and at the end of the turn I have to return this to my hand. What's nice is I can just keep reusing this and reusing this and reusing this. Thespian Stage is cool because it adds a colorless, but I can make it become a copy of target land and gains this ability, which this is really cool, and I'll tell you why in just a second. A Volrath Stronghold taps for colorless, but for colorless and a black, I can put a creature card from my graveyard on top of my library, and this is because one of my key cards in there in the deck is the Bone Shredder, because it comes out and it kills creatures, so that's why I like this card right here. Cabal Coffers. This is one that I'm probably going to be using Thespian Stage to copy. For 2 tap, add black to your mana pool for each swamp you control, and of course I have a play set of them. So this, just bonus, and of course if I have to, I can actually use Thespian Stage to become a copy of Lake of the Dead or even Thawing Glaciers if need be. For a Stronghold, probably not so much. Okay. For some of the extras in my deck, I've got Sands of Delirium. It's basically mill. And with Cabal Coffers, what a great card to have. It's cheap to put out, and I can use it repeatedly. And target player mills the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. And here we got Elixir of Immortality. Just some life gain, plus goes back in my deck, so I can possibly get it back later. Super cheap, easy to use. Erratic Portal. Costs 4, but I can return a target creature to owner's hand unless his controller pays 1. Again, I'm going to use this for my Bone Shredder. And let's look at the Bone Shredder real quick. So the Bone Shredder is my key card in this deck. It's really good against another deck that has a lot of creatures and that comes out fairly quickly because I can kill them fairly quickly. I've had games completely one-sided where I've totally owned the other guy, where he's totally owned me, but I like those games where right in the middle, it's just kind of perfect. You know, I can kill creatures almost as quick as he can put them out, and it's kind of this back and forth game. You just don't know who's going to win until the very end. It just almost depends if someone makes a misplay or a miscalculation or just doesn't get what they need at the right moment. So Bone Shredder is a 3 cost. It's a 1/1 flyer with Echo, and Echo just means during my next upkeep, I have to pay its casting cost or sacrifice it. And when it comes into play, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. So typically what I'll do is I'll play the Bone Shredder, and when he comes out, use his ability to kill something, and of course he's a chump blocker as well. I don't care if he dies in combat, it doesn't bother me because I want him in the graveyard. And so which means usually I don't pay the echo cost. Sometimes I'll pay the echo cost if I really have to, if I got to keep him out, but I'm not too worried about it. Plus also too, with the Bone Shredder, I can use the Erratic Portal to put him back into my hand. And in a pinch, if another player doesn't have that 1, then I can put their creatures back in their hand as well. And I just got one of those. And also Bottle Gnomes, Chump Blocker also, I can sack them to gain 3 life. Expedition Maps are nice because I can search for my library for a land card, but not just a basic, any land card, and put it in my hand, which means now I can go back with Expedition Map and I can get the Thespian Stage, a Cabal Coffers if someone's destroyed it, my Vorloth Stronghold, which I use with the Bone Shredder to bring it back on top of my library, the Thawing Glaciers to get more land, or if I need Lake of the Dead to get some of that mana, I can do it. Okay, what else is in my Bone Shredder deck? Of course, being Cabal Coffers, I got a lot of stuff that's kind of pumpable, like this Bloodright Invoker. He's a 3/1 for 3 for 8. Target player loses 3 life, and I gain 3 life. Used that a few times before. Dash Hopes, a couple counter spells in a black deck can kind of sometimes throw your opponent off kilter, so because they're not going to be expecting, as a mono black player, to have a counter spell. So 2 black, when you play Dash Hopes, any player may pay for 5 life. If they do, counter Dash Hopes and then counter target spell. So if someone wants to get rid of this, they can, but they got to lose 5 life. And if it's early on in the game, they're trying to get something big out, they may or may not do it. It's hard to tell, but if it's early game, it's nice because they got their 5 life down, which is really good. And of course, if they choose not to counter it, then, well, you get to counter the spell. Win-win all the way around. Damnation. Destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. I want to take my Bone Shredders, which I'll leave visible here, and I want them back in the graveyard, so I don't mind so much. So Damnation is super awesome. Nice board wipe. Grim Return. Again, I'm getting my Bone Shredder back, or maybe even Bottle Gnomes if I need another Chump Blocker. Choose target creature card in graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. So I could use my creature, or I could use one of their creatures, which works really well with my Bone Shredder. If I get rid of a particularly large creature, something that's really handy, I could get them back with Grim Return. Reanimate, same thing, except the only costs 1. Now, it does hit you for life equal to that creature's total casting cost, but that's okay because I've got plenty of life gain through Bottle Gnomes and also through the Bloodright Invoker. Got a couple of those guys. Unearth. It's a 1 cost, so I can get a creature card in my graveyard with a total cast cost 3 or less and put that creature into play. Again, that's my Bone Shredder, or maybe even if I needed to, maybe even this Bloodright Invoker, or God forbid, even a Bottle Gnomes if I had to, but usually I try to avoid getting Bottle Gnomes because that's not really what I need to win. So, and this also, what is nice about this is not only can I get a Bone Shredder, throw them directly into play, but if I don't need to use this card right away, I can use it as draw power, and I love cycling because it's great for draw power. So this card really has 2 purposes, bring back and draw power. Now, here's another pumpable card, and that's Nightmare Incursion. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not pumpable. It costs 6, but I get to search target player's library for up to X cards, where X is equal to the number of swamps I control. Another reason to have Thawing Glaciers. And remove them from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her library. Kind of expensive, but with all the mana ramp I have in here, not a problem. Choice of Damnations, another 6 cost, but this is a weird card. So target opponent chooses a number. You may have that player lose that much life. If you don't, that player sacrifices all but that many permanents. This is crazy. Usually whenever I have to play this, me and the other guy have to stop for a second and really read the text and make sure we get it right. But this is a crazy card. I love having this card in here. People can't stand that card. I love it. Exsanguinate. One of my win conditions, 2 black and X. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. Oh, commander card, commander card, commander card. Definitely a commander card. And this is just my 60 card deck. This is not a commander deck, obviously. Profane Command, another 2 and X. So someone can lose X life or return target creature card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to play, or target creature gets -1/-1, or I'm sorry, -X/-X until end of turn, or up to X target creatures gain fear until end of turn. Sadistic Sacrament. I've actually got 3 of these. It costs 3 to cast, but it has a kicker cost of 7, so I can search my target player's library for up to 3 cards, exile them, then that player shuffles his or her library. If Sadistic Sacrament was kicked, instead search that player's library for up to 15 cards, exile them, and that player shuffles his or her library. This is gross in a commander deck. Well, this is gross anyways, especially with Cabal Coffers. Getting 10 is not that bad. And losing 15 cards out of a 60-card deck is awful. You could literally strip easily 3 playsets of something out of someone's deck, which could easily nullify their deck. And in a commander game, you could easily do some serious damage. Even just taking up 3 key cards out of a commander deck could be crippling. But if you're able to take 15, oh yeah, this is a good card. Another good commander possibility, I think. Chainer's Edict, some cheap creature removal. So for 2, target player sacrifices a creature, and even though it's kind of pricey, but then again with Cabal Coffers, I can afford to do it. Flashback, so I can play this card from the graveyard. So this is actually 2-in-1. I can play it and then play it again from my graveyard. So I can get rid of some more creatures if I don't have Bone Shredders available, or something happens where the Bone Shredders are not effective. Recover. I can bring any creature card from my graveyard to my hand, which is nice, and the biggest thing is draw a card. So again, I'm getting more cards in my hand all the time, so that I increase likelihood of getting what I need to possibly win the game. Tutor. Search my library for a card, put it in my hand, then shuffle my library. 4 cost, but with this deck, easy peasy. And most decks, easy. Diabolic Intent. Now I have to sacrifice a creature as an additional cost, but that's okay because I want the Bone Shredder in the graveyard, so that doesn't bother me at all. And I can search my card, or my library for a card, and put it into my hand. Then I shuffle my library. These 3, Phyrexian Rager. This is another good card that I want to bring back from the graveyard and put it back into play. When he comes into play, I draw a card, and I lose 1 life. And he's a 2/2 chump blocker. Well, absolutely I'm going to use him, and you know what? I'm going to swing with him if I get the chance, unless I decide I need to keep him home as a chump blocker. And if he dies because someone blocks him, no sweat, because I'll bring him back, put him into play, draw a card, lose another life, because it's worth it to spend 1 life to draw a card, especially if I don't have to do it. I can dictate when I want it done. And sometimes people, especially new players, they see what's coming here. They see that, oh, if they kill him, he's going to go to the graveyard, and they know I'm doing bring back. So if I bring him back, I'm just going to be able to draw a card and lose a life. So maybe some new players may or may not want to block him. It just depends on strategy, tactics, and what players think you can and can't abuse. But I always liked the Phyrexian Rager. I always thought he was pretty cool. And I mean, heck, a chump blocker who gives you a card in exchange for losing a life, I'll take it any day. And when you play black cards, when you play mono black, it's all about running the risk of killing yourself anyways in order to win the game. Night's Whisper. For 2, a black and a colorless, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Again, losing life to draw cards, but then again, I'm keeping my hand full, so I got options. And of course, pairing with this, Sign in Blood, which is exactly the same thing. And this is what's cool if you're playing Commander. This is exactly the same card, only slightly different in the fact that this says you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, costs 1 black and 1 colorless. Sign in Blood is 2 black, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So you could technically mill somebody with this. Again, commander possibility if that's the route you're going. All right, and that right there is my mono black Bone Shredder deck. So let's see. Now I had 26 lands, and let's take a quick look at how many actual cards I have in my deck. So that's 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. Yep. So this is a mono black 65 card deck. All designed and built around one main card, the Bone Shredder. I just thought he would be super cool to have, super fun to play with. He's from the Urza's block, specifically Urza's Legacy, and I just thought he was cool, and I'm really happy with this deck. Does it win all the time? No. Is it super competitive? No. But is it casually fun and casually competitive? I'd say so. And with little tweaks, if I had to, I could definitely keep the theme, but yet keep it updated. So this was just an example of one of the main decks I play. I hope to make some more videos to show you the kind of decks that I like and I enjoy. Again, not generally competitive, but definitely fun and enjoyable for me to play because I like to play what I enjoy. And I definitely enjoy playing this, the Bone Shredder. And of course, as always, you should always protect your deck with a deck box and sleeves. And in this case, something unassuming, a young dragon wearing fluffy bunny ears and an Easter egg. So that's me. Okay, so with that, I guess I'm done. Oh, so that's the Bone Shredder. So that's the kind of deck that I like to play. And originally, when I first got into Magic, I was kind of a red-green player. But for a long time, I spent a lot of time playing Mono Black. And it's still one of my favorite decks to this day. I love playing it. I think it's got a lot of fun interaction, a lot of cool options. And, well, that's it. Thanks for sticking around and checking out what I like to use for Magic the Gathering, the kind of decks that I play. And again, I'm Dave Hunt, owner of GameMasters Guild, telling you to stay safe, play great games, and I'll see you real soon. Oh, Bone Shredder!